They're just forms. The court uses.
People can sit in these chairs. Most nights I'm at home.
Your phone works fine.
My phone says.
I got six as well.
Okay, it's 6 o'clock. We're going to call this meeting to order, the Farm Committee. Roll call, McCormick,
Here.
Ogden,
Here.
Schuff,
Here.
Williams,
Here.
Cole, here. Okay, we're going to skip number 2 and go to number 3 to public body comment. I'm going to limit you to 5 minutes. Heath's going to help me keep track of that. There won't be any discussion between you and the committee. Respect the person who's on the floor with their time, because you can all have your time. Okay. Please state your name so everybody knows who you are, and we'll get started.
My name is Kenny Compton, and I'm currently farming the county farm. I usually don't have a whole lot to say about what's going on with this stuff, but I think the easiest way to put this for everybody is you guys are like you're the farm manager, and we are like the investor, like the lawyers or the doctors, and you guys are working for us to manage our farm. This is still the taxpayer's farm, and you guys are just managing it for us. Now, if the farm manager would decide he would want to try to sell that, he would have to talk to investor first. So if you guys are wanting to sell this farm, I think you should put it on the ballot and let the taxpayers decide.
That's right.
My My name is Jared Yanis. I think I have a solution that'll solve everyone's issues with the farm. Whenever I saw that this meeting was coming up on Monday, I've been kind of thinking about this for several months and haven't put anything together yet, but whenever this was coming up on Monday, I wrote an email to all of the board members this weekend. So I'd like to read that email to everyone so that they can hear it as well. Hello to all board members. My name is Jared Yanis. My partner and I own Regenerative Life Farm east of Findlay. I believe that freedom starts with food. Therefore, my life goal is to get 50% of the food consumed in this county grown and processed in this county with resources from this county. It doesn't take much imagination to come up with a reason that food may become scarce in the future. We have let so many things become monopolized for our ease and comfort over the last several decades that we can't do anything on a local basis. For most things, that is okay, but not for food. Food should be the one thing that we intentionally don't monopolize. We should put good energy and intention into food on a human scale. We need to build local food infrastructure. This will be many different things, but a food hub at the center of it seems to be the place to start. Instead of selling the farm, I believe that we should create a new park district on a county level called something like Shelby County Community Schools Food Park District. The county could donate the county farm to the park district. The county farm would be used to grow food for the schools and educate both the students and community as a whole. The county farm could have a herd of cattle, flocks of poultry for meat and eggs, fields of wheat for flour, potatoes, sweet corn, green beans, and many other things. Then, near each school building could be a mini park with more of a market garden with the more perishable crops that will be eaten fresh, grown close to the schools. All of us remember what school food was like. If the next generation is truly important, we should be feeding them gourmet meals every day with local, nutrient-dense food. The county farm, in a few years, could be used to help jumpstart young farmers. Maybe a scholarship could be awarded to young farmers to supply them with animals and seeds to start their own farm and grow our local food infrastructure. About the only choice for food in this county is the dollar store or Walmart. Could we revitalize our small communities and bring back small grocers, bakers, butchers, and the like? Solve all of the issues laid out in the resolution to sell the farm, most important of which would be for the public purpose. Putting quality, nutrient-dense food into school kids' mouths while teaching them how to grow it seems worthy to me. Whether it gets sold or kept getting farmed, neither seems to be for public purpose. Money to fund the county should come from the taxes that it levies and the state and federal government. If the farm was sold and the money invested, wouldn't that investment be, quote, participating in the private sector of the economy? Who is paying the interest that is being paid to the county? This spring, the public could decide whether or not to form a new park district. But if they don't, then it could be sold. We don't have to descend into madness just because the rest of the world is. Let's do something unique and difficult and make an investment in our local economy and future generations. I could ramble on more, but this lays out the gist of it. If anyone has any questions, please reach out to me, Jared. So there's lots of different questions that arise. Several of the board members responded, some of them very enthusiastically, others just kind of acknowledging it. There's an organization called the IAPD, Illinois Association of Park Districts. They put out like a 45-page document, and it lays out everything step by step, how to form a park district, takes you through it. It seems fairly straightforward. I know politics isn't always, but it seems fairly straightforward. It would put it to the ballot. It would let the people decide whether or not to keep the farm come spring. I think that would be feasible to even get it on that spring election. To do this, we would need to proceed with like a citizens committee. There would need to be a group of citizens from around the county, preferably not ones on either side of this heated issue, really. No board members, current board members or anything, you know, and just some, like maybe school administrators and different things like that, because it's going to involve the school districts, and maybe somebody from each school district. There's actually 12 different school districts that overlay our county, some of them just very marginally. The only one that's actually completely inside of the county is Shelbyville's community schools. The rest of them overlay the edges of the county, but I think that's how we should proceed. I think this resolution should be tabled for at least a month, and we can put together a citizens committee and present the board with a resolution to donate the farm to a park district. Thank you.
Well said. couple things come to mind. I'm not on Facebook. Obviously, I follow this and follow all the community stuff. But a couple points. The precedent is what the first thing I would look at as far as why this farm's even being discussed on letting it go. To my knowledge, there is no precedent. Nothing's changed in the last 125 years. There's 20 plus other counties in the state that have the exact same thing we have and have been farming and realizing revenue from it for generations. So when you look at that, it makes me wonder, why is the urgency to all of a sudden revisit this? Is it, if you look at the local people, no one has an issue with this. There's been no laws changed. The General Assembly hasn't passed anything that's changed to cause us to have to sell this. The person who enforces the laws, the Attorney General, they're not saying we've not received a cease and desist letter that I know of, or letting us know that we're operating outside of the law. And in fact, a law has been passed that actually has said it's okay to do this. So putting that aside, I guess we're wondering, why is this all of a sudden become such an urgent issue? Secondly, I would look at the impact that this could potentially have. It's not this year, next year. This is going to have an impact, your decision, for decades to come. And here's why, because you have the luxury, and we're blessed to have a revenue-producing farm that's owned free and clear, that every year will generate money coming in here, that we don't have to go to taxpayers and pull out of their pockets and redistribute. All we got to do is let the farmer do his job. On top of that, it's going to appreciate every year. So 2 years, 10 years, 30 years, 50 years, that is going to keep appreciating. It's going to double and double again and double again after that. And 10 years from now, when that has been sold, and you take the money and you do something with it, like every government entity, it will disappear. I don't care how you ear tag it, what you say it's going to do. Boards change, agendas, things change, and that money, no one will remember where that money went. But that land will still sit out there, and it'll be worth 10 times one day what it is now. And it's hard to imagine that, but it will. And this is going to be the board that took potentially the biggest fiscal misstep, in my opinion, at least of my generation. And then lastly, when I think about this, and I see all this is going on the board, as a former school board member during a really tenuous time, I want to thank you guys for stepping up, because doing in public service really it is a cliche to say it's a thankless job, but it is, and it affects you, your family, your health in some cases. But I think you guys have an opportunity to change the course of the way this board operates. Look back internally to our county and what we believe, what your constituents want, pull them, and then make the best decision. But also, when I see things, and I've been a member of and accountable to a board of directors professionally for a long time, and when I see how this board is so fractured and how it operates, and board members making social media posts and answering things, which I know you'd love to, because I would have loved to have done the same thing back in the day, you can't do it. Because even when you say, hey, this is my opinion, it's not your opinion when you're talking about county business. You're representing the board, and that's a liability issue. Secondly, the disregard for each other's opinions, beliefs, not sticking to the rules of how you set up a meeting outside for dinner with multiple people. Again, none of that may be illegal, but it doesn't look good. I mean, it just doesn't. I coached T-ball with 3 other school board members, and we chose not to talk and get close to each other because we didn't want anybody to think that we were having a meeting discussing school business. And that's what it looks like. So whether you're doing it's unintended or it is intended, that's the way it looks to everybody. So I think tonight I would ask, slow this down and slow all these other things down that everybody's talking about. Why the rush? And challenge. If you're for selling the farm, the person that's not for it, ask them to give your best, sell them on why they shouldn't, why you shouldn't vote that way, and vice versa, and discuss it. And if you still feel that way, then recommend it and vote on it. But at least you can defend your position, and it's out in the open, and everybody sees it. Thank you.
Shelbyville. So, I've read a lot of
of things, people came up with a lot of reasons they believe that people want to sell the farm. Somebody made a political promise. Some board member wants to buy it. Some other underhanded dealing. I don't believe that. I don't believe any of that. I think what I see is a political philosophy. It is a philosophy of the far right. I talked earlier, a couple months ago, about the far right and some of their beliefs. John Boehner, the Speaker of the House, former Speaker of the House in 2017 said about the MAGA extremists, the Donald Trump extremists, they can't tell you what they're for, but they can tell you everything they're against. They're anarchists. They want total chaos, tear it all down and start over. And that's where their mindset is. Some of the beliefs, if you look up what a far-right extremist, MAGA extremist is, the first 5 things that come up, they're incapable of doing, they believe the government is incapable of doing good. They ensure that the government is incapable of doing good. They want a small captive state, one that will do their bidding for them. Corporations, that is. They are anti-democratic. They believe the power should be in the hands of the rich, the corporate, the elite. And lastly, they believe that the government should not own land. That is in black and white. And those are my opinions, something that I've read. And that's what I believe the farm sale is about.
Public body comment?
Hi, my name's Emily Compton. My husband was the one that farmed the county farm this year. I don't believe anything you said. I'm just being honest with you, okay? Because I believe that the government should be for the people, and if the people aren't represented and you don't hear what we're saying, you are not doing your job. You're not. I voted for people because I thought they believed the same things that I did. Yet I've been shown over and over, they want one thing and I want another. And this farm is important to the county. It's important to us taxpayers. Sorry. If you sell this farm, that's going to increase our taxes. That's going to make us have to pay more taxes because that money that you say, well, let's put it in something that's low risk. Nothing in life is low risk. Nothing. Farming, how much, just think about this. How much did you pay the farmer this year for that farm? And how much profit did you make off that farm with just one crop? One crop. You could have had 2, but you only had 1. You know, that's money that could have been reinvested in this county where it needed to be. And you guys aren't doing that. This farm is important. I know you want to turn it into all that. Well, think about insurance. The kids, a lot of these school districts are taking the FFA and things like that away. They're not supporting the agriculture side of the school. They don't want them in that. They're all for sports most of the time. We need to invest in our students that want to do ag, like you want. But we also need to keep the farm, the corn, the soybeans, the wheat. That's something that could go back to the county too. You can make bread with the wheat. The soybeans, you know, they make soy burgers if somebody, you know, is a vegetarian or something like that. I mean, you could give that back to the community. There's so many things you can do with that farm, but if you sell it, what's the investment later? We've had it for so long. It's been beneficial for so long. You take that away. My husband's grandpa said, you know, they don't make more farmland. Once you sell it, what's going to go up in it? You know, you might have somebody buy it and say, oh yeah, I'm going to use it for farmland. But then they go and they build houses and all this stuff, and then that farmland's gone. We've bought a farm. The amount that we paid for the farm when we bought it, the value has increased every single year. This farmland, the value increases every single year. You've got good soil on this farm. It produces really good yields. I don't know why you would want to sell it, and I don't believe you should. That's all I have to say.
Tammy Smith. I understand the argument's been made that we need to pay deputies over dirt. That ARPA money can be used to pay those deputies' salaries through the end of next year, people. There's nothing that says it can't be. So why are we going to sell our farm to pay deputies' wages when we already have the money in our coffers to do so? We're paying the assistant state's attorney $45,000 plus a year out of that ARPA money, which I'm not convinced is legal, because it states in the ARPA guidelines that you can't create a new position and pay the salary out of that money. That assistant state's attorney was a new position under this attorney. Yes, there have been assistant state's attorneys in the past, but this is a new one under Mr. Hanlon. So I'm not convinced that that state's attorney's salary should be coming out of that ARPA money. Right. I'm sure if I'm wrong, I'll be told about it. But that's okay. So my point is, why sell something that makes you a profit every year to cover salaries that we already have the money for? That's all I have to say.
Somebody over here.
I'm Bill Shelby, born and raised in Shelbyville in Shelby County, and I'm in favor of keeping the farm. There's a lot of things we can do with it, like this lady just said. We can get a agriculture, somebody through a bank to oversee it, work with a farmer, report back to the committee, and use those funds. It's whichever way you want to. And there's also another thing you can do. Put a solar farm there. Everybody's doing interviews, you know. Well, that's my idea, but I have done that's not very good. Anyway, before you decide to do anything with it, I think it should come to the voters and be on a ballot and vote.
Any other public body comment?
I'm Christine Matlock, and I want to know if anyone has actually taken a look at the Facebook post. Jill Miller has a little website, I think it's still up, with pictures of the farm and the buildings, and tells a story about them. And have you looked at the story behind it? Benny Clausen's family, his dad ran the farm. There's other people in this audience who are attached to that farm. It's a legacy farm for our community. If we would spend a 50th, or probably even less than that, of the time we spent arguing and finding little nitpicky things here and there to say, oh, we have to sell it, we have to sell it. If we'd spend that little amount of time, we would probably go, fixed. You get a couple of farmers here, there's some friends here I know that are farmers, and they're interested in the ag community. You put those people together, Comptons, and you will have a solution. And if we can't trust our state's attorney with his responses, we need to talk to someone outside the circle to be a consultant to tell us what's legal. Because I have read up on it. And our governor on August the 4th passed a law that says we can do exactly what we want to do. If we cash rent that farm, cash rent continues to climb. Every year, cash rent, that's the easiest way to handle it likely. That's what I condone because it's less frustration. We cash rent it, that money goes into the general fund, and it's spent on things we need. The other thing is, selling it's great, it's a good idea, to some. You all know that there's people that when it gets in the bottom of that bank account, they start digging. And when it's gone, it's gone. And in 10 years, if we let it start here, do we look back in 10 years and go, oh crap, what did we do? What did we allow to happen in our county? Because if it starts here, it's going to get worse. And all of us are going to be going, uh-oh, what do we do? So we need to find a solution that helps our county. Not somebody who doesn't farm, not somebody with no experience farming, not someone from outside our county that has no vested interest. We need to think about what we need and what our children, our grandchildren, and our great-grandchildren will look back on and go, you know what? My mom stood on that line. She made sure. You would not believe the people that I have seen and met because of this. Because we're all in this room, and I'll bet 99% of us say, do not sell it. And I think we should stay right there. I think we need to hold the line.
Everybody comment? I had Jim.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, here we go. For you people that don't know me, I'm Jim Lynch. I farmed the county farm for 18 years. They started out at cash rent. My first contract was cash rent. They found out it was illegal to do it with cash rent. So then they went to a 3/5, 2/5. I was responsible for all the fertilizer and everything else, and they got 2/5 of the crop. That's the way we done it. And that was designed, or they used to do it down in Cowden, down in that area. That's the way they worked it. And that's the way they did it. But they found out that they couldn't cash rent it anymore. I think the attorney at that time was Bill Turner. And they tried to sell it twice. Tim, Tobes was on the board then. Tim's dad. They tried to sell it then, but they couldn't do it. The committee didn't want to do it, but the board decided, and the second time they done it, they were going to make a dump out of it. And that didn't fly. It's a mess. And we got people here that don't need it. They don't need to be here. This is our problem. We don't need everybody else mixing in with it. Amen. There has been some things that I have seen through the board that's been illegal as hell. And I've got the person working on it. And hopefully they'll straighten it out. And I'm not lying. Mitch, David, Jeremy, Daryl, I'm not lying. I think the best thing to do is to get rid of our state's attorney. He's worthless. The second thing that needs to go is the watchdogs. They shouldn't have been brought here to begin with. Or who, I don't know who done it. I have no idea. Don't care. But it was wrong. We take care of our own. Now then, I won't quit. I've got more stuff, but it's for the big meeting next time. The watchdogs, we got, first of all, the county farm, if you sell it, you got to have a state's attorney to even, you got to have an attorney to even sell it anymore. Thanks to the lawyers, so they can have some more money. That's all it is, boys, is money, 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 money. The watchdogs, who called the watchdogs? I have a feeling I know.
Amen.
We all do.
Yep.
Bill's Wind Farm. Who started that? We all know. So now, guys, send them home. I'm done.
Benny, did you have your hand raised?
Yeah, I'm going to change the subject just a little bit, though. County farm is history in this county.
Amen. Yep.
You talk to people throughout the county, and I'd say half the people don't even know it existed.
Exactly.
Where was some of the first terraces put in this county?
County Farm. And put it above you. And slip buckets.
Where was the first dry, what do they call them? Dry dams put in?
County Farm.
That's right. And you fuckers don't take care of it. Sorry, Carol.
I've never
I'm
heard
not
my
talking
dad say
about
that
you.
word before in my life.
That's fine.
You need to apologize for that.
I apologize.
Chairman's got the charge of the board.
I don't care.
But you people have let all of that stuff fall apart. You haven't maintained anything out there. We got noxious weeds. The dry dam, it's still there. But yet it's washed around, and now we have soil erosion. We need to do stuff out there at the county farm without selling. As a lot of these people have mentioned, we make money off that farm. You can't take the money and put it in a CD and make more money. But the history of that place is part of the history of Shelby County. Are we going to lose it?
No.
Do you know?
Please vote no to this plan. Thank you.
Public body comment?
Ann Durkee, Decatur, so not Shelby County, but apparently that doesn't matter around here. But until 15 years ago, I was Libby Clausen, lifetime resident of Shelbyville, and I was until May of this year. This is the first time I've always owned property or lived in my father's property, but I sold my house that we used here as a vacation home because I couldn't recommend Shelbyville as a vacation location anymore. But I do want to apologize on behalf of my father. You don't realize how much this hurts his heart. He was born there. He is one of the few people alive who lived on that farm and saw what it did for this county. So I apologize for his outburst, but this is tearing him apart. Thank you.
Public body comment?
Liz, Carol. Excuse me, Bill. Liz Schaefer. I'm not very good at judging time, so give me the high sign if you need to, Carol. I agree with the point about the history of the farm. I agree that it has been nothing but good for this county. I don't understand why it's being attacked. I think Jared's ideas are fresh. I like the idea of keeping it, and I want that to be known. I've heard from Mr. Ogden that he's never heard anybody saying that they didn't want it sold, because I spoke to him on the phone. I said, well, then you need to get out more, because there's plenty of people that don't want it sold. My grandfather and my uncle sat up in that blue chair back there My dad has been in here practicing, my cousins have been in here practicing. This is a sham of what the law should be doing to protect and defend the people of this county. I live in a house that I'm the 4th generation in. It's been in my family since it was new. I got married there. I inherited farmland from my dad, from my grandfather. That's 3 generations. Am I the one out there busting my butt to grow the crops? No, I'm not, but you can bet I'm appreciative of the guys who are. And I know that if anybody in here was lucky enough to inherit some farm ground, they would think long and hard about turning their back on that increasing equity and that income every year, whether they do a cash rent or whether they do a 50-50 share like I do, which is what my dad did and my grandfather did. This is not something that should be just thrown away on the whim of a few people who think that because they have the power to do it, that that makes it an okay thing to do. And who think because somebody else is telling them it's okay to do, that they should do it. It's bogus. I would say it's something else, but I don't want to be chastised. I do have the mouth of a sailor when it's given free rein. But I will tell you, what you're contemplating is wrong on every level. And you should vote no. And at the very least, you should table all this nonsense until you have a chance to put it on a ballot and have a referendum of all the people who weren't able to be here tonight for whatever reason, and see what they want done with their county farm, because it is theirs, it's not yours. Thank you.
Public body comment? Oops. Oh.
Hey, where's Jeff? I'll go
Slide.
That's not right, is it? I agree with everything these people said, so I'm not gonna get into that. But the proposal that was drawn up to bring back to the board, what Walmart did you get that out of? I mean, it lacks so many things that don't even state, you know, the highest and best bid, let alone when you're taking bids, when you're closing on it, when you're gonna close on the real estate. You could knock holes all through that. You guys ought to be embarrassed to bring that. I mean, who did you have look at it? Who looked at it? Just one more thing. I just want to see you take a straw poll here. How many people are for selling this farm? Okay, now how many is against? Raise your hand. You got it.
Public body comment?
Yeah, I got one over here. Carol, I just asking Dave, did you see some folks that don't want to sell the farm now? You did, right? Okay, that's all I got.
My name is Michael Donald. Mitch Shuff represents me in my district. Mr. Shuff, did you, before you and Mr. Williams drew up this proposal, did you ever come to me and ask me what I wanted? Did you? Did you ever ask any of the constituents which you represent what they wanted before you drew that up? That's all I've got.
I'm going to follow up with him and let you know Julie Ambrose has. She's asked her district what they want, and she's following what they want. You guys should probably do the same.
I'm sorry. Any other public body comment?
Yes, I'm so glad to see so many people here tonight. And I've made calls, and they've been good to call me back. Michelle has called me back. Jeremy Williams has talked to me. We don't agree on anything, I could say that. And I talked to Dave Ogden as well. I've talked to Carol Cole. I tried Keith McCormick. It's okay, sometimes you can't call people back, and I understand. And what I hear in a lot of the conversation is my opinion, what I think, and it's not about everything about what you think, it's about what we think too. And you represent us. It's not just a me thing. And that's what I'm hearing a lot of the times. And Jeff over there who talked about the far-right extremism, I could say I did talk to a person in my district who told me that he felt like Republicans owning farms is big government and Republicans are against big government. And I sat there and just shook my head. So he's not all wrong, because he had that last part really right, because that is what my representative said to me. And this meeting right here, I don't understand why the rush to do this. I don't even think this meeting tonight's legal, because there were 3 different agendas. On the website, there's a farm committee meeting for the 11th, a farm committee meeting for the 12th. It's been put in the Eagle twice, one at 8 a.m. and one at 6 p.m. Tuesday. And so you change the meeting on a Saturday and nobody has access to the courthouse to be able to see if you put an agenda up. There were people that actually showed up at the Lions Club thinking there was a meeting, and there was no notice put on the door that there wasn't. So, that is an OMA violation. And why the speed of doing this? To me, the way you've gone about doing this, you just called the meeting, maybe it's okay to call the meeting, but why didn't you call Carol Cole and say, hey, I want to call a meeting? You didn't give her the option to say yes or no. You just did it. That shows no humanity, none. And my whole message, every meeting I come to, is about treating people respectfully and with humanity. And we need to start showing each other that. And I really would appreciate it if you would. And I'd appreciate it if you started listening to what the people are saying. No, we're not 15,000 people. But when they do presidential polls, they're not calling up tons of money. We're representing everybody from all over our district. And there's no one here. They've seen the battle saying, we're with them. Thank you.
I'm Regina Hilbert, and I haven't lived in Shelby County my whole life, just the last 3 years. My family farms for decades, has been farming for generations in Montgomery County. And we were just brought up, you just don't sell the farm. You don't sell farm ground. On another note, I own a shop downtown, and I'm so proud to live in Shelbyville now. But living in Shelby County, it's embarrassing. Like, people come from all over this state, all over our country to Shelbyville. They're coming in my shop going, what is going on in here? What's going on down here? And it's kind of hard to explain to them. I had another point I was going to make. But it really is. It's the disrespect and the craziness, it's unexplainable. And the idea that you want to sell farm ground to me is laughable. And I really feel like if so many other counties are doing this, and it's obviously legal, you as a county board should be fighting like hell to keep it instead of jumping at a chance to sell it.
I'm just going to let people talk one time. We've got so many. Tim, is that?
My name's Tim Bennett, and I don't really have an agenda here, but my family has got a centennial farm. We've been paying taxes for a long time here. My dad was Toby Bennett. He was on the county board when Jim farmed it, when Jim Hampton farmed it, and those guys contributed a lot to this county that farmed that ground. And I don't know these folks here, but they're a lot younger, and that's the kind of people we need farming that ground. I mean, we all got to start somewhere. But my son and I bought a farm not too many years ago in Windsor, and it was a farm that I know for a fact the lady left to be to the University of Illinois for her life, for ever. It was never be sold. It come up for auction, we bought it, and after we bought it, it had a whole table like you guys are sitting at, all young guys. And I went up to him and I said, "How did you get this sold?" He said, "Well," this is a young guy. He said, "Oh, I don't have anything against young people, but I'm telling you though, they were making decisions for the University of Illinois." And he said, "We sold it because we can take that money and help the students at the University of Illinois." And I said, "You know, I'm just a dumb old farmer, but I said, if you keep the farm, you'll have that money every year to help them." And I know for a fact that they sold a bunch of that Allerton land up at B-Min. And they sold it when the ground was $7,000 or $8,000 an acre. Just think what that Piatt County land would be worth today. So I'm like that lady over there. You never sell farmland. I know you change generations, but we need to thank our forefathers for having that farm to help the poor of this community. It's called a poor farm. And you're not going to tell me if we got 20-some other counties in the state of Illinois that are doing exactly what we all think you guys ought to be doing. I don't understand it, but I'm just a dumb farmer. Thank you.
I just feel like there's somebody that's wanting the farm that these guys up here know, whether it's Halbrook or who, and that's why they're pushing it through. But we'll never know until it's sold who the guy in the background is. But that's my opinion. Thank
you. Ed Bodecker. I've been a resident of this county for right at 79 years. This is the screwed uppest county board, county farm committee I ever saw in my life. That's right, when you don't sell farmland. Get that through your thick skulls, will you? Now I forgot what I was going to say. See, that's what happens when I get mad, see? Damn dumbasses in Europe. You know what it was I was going to say. If anybody, this thing needs to be put on a ballot.
Yes.
This thing did not let that crackpot county farm board there sell that farm. Do not let that happen. You taxpayers, you get to the ballot, you get to the voting booth and you vote these crackpots out. The ballot is mightier than the sword. Don't you forget that either.
Linda Megan Hart, and I was actually born down here. I haven't lived here for a few years, but I have been back. The Thompson Mill covered bridge is part of my family heritage. They've never tore it down. In fact, they've done everything to keep it in repair, except for the vandalism from the kids. But my main question is, are any of you farmers?
No.
Are you farmers? Would you sell your farmland for a meager profit to be gone in 5 years? Would you?
Tillable farmland, boys. Tillable. Think about that.
You can't answer me? You would sell your farm just to make a profit for 5 years? No, they won't answer. I guess that's your answer. You don't know, so why are you trying to sell this farm? When it's going to generate income for many years to come. And as it generates income, it's actually increasing in value at the same time. So it's a double gain.
Tim Morris, farmer. My first question would be, why would you want to remove one of the few things that the county board has done in its history that is humanitarian? I mean, this is something that has actually helped people. And then my next question is, how could you schedule a meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning and try to deny this? These people able to talk and tell you their positions. That's beyond me.
Ellen, did you have anything?
Ellen Trainer. A couple of years ago, the county was given the opportunity to have that farm for free. And that money was not only to be used to pay anything that wasn't paid previously, to get it caught up, whatever it needed, but it was also to be used for seed money to get that farm on its feet. It's been a year and a half, and I guess where I'm the most disappointed is in that year and a half, it appears on the surface, I'm not in the trenches, but it appears that more work has been done to disable that farm and figure out how to sell that farm than it has been spent finding out how to make that farm a viable asset to the taxpayers of this county. I am happy to say I am a farm wife, I am a landowner, and I am of that generation, or was raised by a generation and multiple generations, that told us, you don't sell farm ground. You can have a crop catastrophe. That farm still has value. When the stock market crashes or the government takes all your coins and your dollars, your bank accounts, you have nothing. So, I understand, and I agree with Clay, being in a political or in a governmental board type position is a thankless job. Don't get me wrong. But from the outside looking in, it's very disheartening to feel like you were given a large window of opportunity to find a solution, and more time was spent on dividing the constituents of this county and figuring out backdoor ways, or whatever you want to call it, ways to get rid of that farm. And that is very, very sad.
See everybody
That's all
outside.
I have.
Anna Bragg. And I just have two comments, and one was, I don't know what anyone else's perception is, but my personal perception is, you guys are pawns in a chess game, and you're just on the little board, and you're being told what to say and what to do, and I think that's why Jeremy called that rush meeting. Like, let's not involve Carol. My directive was to call this meeting, we got to get this bill passed. So we're going to leave Carol out because we know her opinion. And that's the way this whole board has operated since you guys came in. You take orders from someone up above, you come into the board meetings, you have an agenda, and you don't express your opinions, you're just giving orders from what was directed up above. On anything, any matter. We don't ever hear a personal opinion coming from you. It's all orders from up above. So you come in, you have an agenda, we're going to get it done. We don't give a rat's butt what the Shelby County citizens think or feel. We were given directives, we were given orders, and by God, that's what we're going to do. Because that's how this board is going to operate. That is my perception, that is my opinion. I don't know what anyone else is feeling. The second thing I want to say is amen to the guy that said get rid of the state's attorney. Because unless you've worked in this courthouse and know what it's been like since he came into the office, you don't know what it's like. And I'm sorry if you're taking legal advice from him, but it has been hell. And he's caused more turmoil since he came into the office. So I feel sorry for you guys that think he's some god or some leader, because you really need or really looking at an awakening someday.
2 years ago, November 20th, 2020, I got on the board, and I was a Republican in District 1, and I attended meetings before I got on the board of the First Church of the Nazarene the week of our county board meetings. And Jeremy, you were the one that brought up, we need transparency. We need to have our meetings at night so everybody could hear what's going on. And we were coached on what to vote on. And then whenever we don't vote the way we should, then we get shunned and reprimanded and threatened. That's all I got to say.
Any other public body comments?
My name's Sandra Graven, and you all know how I feel about farming the farm, and that's what I want you to do. Farm the farm. Do what's right. That's it.
Hey, Carol.
Teresa?
I'm Teresa Bain, and I am on the board. And I think, maybe not the last meeting, but the meeting before, I said I think that it should go on the ballot. That farm belongs to not 22 people, but it belongs to the voting members of this county. And that's where it should be, is on the ballot.
You want to speak, Jay? Do you want to?
Do you want to talk?
Yeah, I just got one sentence. Kirk, you want to keep the farm or sell it?
It's not my place.
Well, what do you want to do? You don't have any opinion. I got an opinion. You don't have one?
This is a legislative decision for you folks.
I didn't figure you had to do it.
Any other public body comment? Got to keep it going. Jill?
I just have one thing. I agree, if you think the thing is to do is to sell it, that it should be put on the ballot, but I don't even think that even should be an issue. I think it's a non-issue. It's legal to lease the farm to a farmer that will pay the taxes, talk about it every 3 years, for those of you that, we're all sick of talking about it. So lease it, talk about it every 3 years when you get the bid to lease, farmer pays the taxes, there's no risk, you've got crop insurance. I mean, I don't understand what the deal is. It's a non-issue.
I've only lived here 4 years, and I go to these meetings, and these people, they care. Oh, Christine Litzky, and they care. They make me cry every time I come to these meetings, and it's like, what are you actually going to do with this money? Is it going to benefit if you sell it? Or are you going to listen to them, put it on the vote, or just keep it? I mean, it's beneficial. I mean, this town is just, every time it's something, they don't want to do anything. They don't want to, when you want to make a change, it's a stupid change. Like even with the Chautauqua, they had the money to fix it. Nobody wanted to fix it. Now they fix it and it's sitting there. Nobody's doing anything. I was offered to be on the board, but everyone's afraid to call me because I might make them work or something. I don't know. I don't understand it, but just keep the farm. Look at these people. I'm crying over all their stories. It's so sad.
Any other public body comment? Public body comment? This last line, public body comment?
Carol, I want to apologize to you. I think you're doing a wonderful job.
Yes.
Okay.
public body comment. We'll go on to number 2. Discussion and vote to approve resolution to sell the county farm. I make a motion to table this resolution to sell the county farm. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Heath seconds it?
Can we table it before it's been?
Oh, yes, I was just, I make a motion to table it. That's what I'm saying.
Second.
I made a motion to table the resolution to sell the farm. Heath has seconded.
I got a question on that. I'm not a scholar on Robert's Rule of Order, but don't we have to
We have to have a motion on the table, or on the floor first.
for that agenda item, then you can table it if there's a motion for that agenda item and then move to a second,
We can't
if
table
I'm not mistaken.
So there's a motion.
There's discussion
Okay.
that might should be had as well.
What's that?
There's discussion that might should be had as well.
Well, I'm going to agree, I'm going to disagree because, and I may be wrong, but I'm going to read something that happened on July the 13th. Orman reported both he and Bennett have stepped down from the farm committee. Immediately, Williams made a motion to table the appointments to the farm committee, and McCormick seconded the motion, and it was passed. So it was tabled, and there was a motion to table it, and a second, and it passed. There was no discussion.
And that may be, but I don't know if that makes it right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could somebody comment on Robert's Rule of Order? I mean,
We got a comment on the sell the farm.
what's that?
We got a comment, we don't want to sell the farm.
They
Yeah.
probably.
I mean, I can bring it back up to discuss and vote the resolution to sell the farm.
I think that would be proper to discuss,
Okay.
to make sure there's no motion on the floor. I mean, can somebody comment on that? Anybody in the room? That knows that Robert's Rule of Order.
I don't,
So somebody's going to make a motion?
What we're discussing is, we need to know if it's proper to have a motion in order to table something. But it was not seconded, that's all.
Yes, it was.
He seconded.
He seconded.
Yeah, he seconded.
Okay.
Everybody?
I made the motion to table the resolution. He seconded the motion.
Got to speak up like the crowd here.
And I think we just have to vote on it.
And it says to table a motion, the motion may be taken from the table after one item of business has been conducted. So your public body comment would have been an item of business.
Yes.
Therefore, the motion to table that agenda item then can proceed. It has to have a second, and a table requires
Yeah.
a two-thirds vote.
And there's no discussion. If you table a motion and second it, there's no discussion. You just vote on it. Pardon me? To table the agenda item. Okay. I'm going to repeat this again. Number 2 is discussion and vote to approve the resolution to sell the county farm. I made a motion to table this resolution to sell the county farm. Heath seconded that motion. Now we need to vote on that. You want a roll call vote?
Yes, sir.
McCormick?
yes.
Ogden?
Yes.
Schuff?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Cole? Yes. Motion carries, 5 votes yes. Motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
Keith makes a motion to adjourn. Second?
I'll second.
Dave seconds that motion. Thank you all for coming tonight.